a writer and a storyteller. And so for years, my mother and my best friend Zena are like, I don't know why you're not writing books. And so I was just forever and ever, I just never did. And so I finally said, okay, I'm gonna write this book. And one of my friends, I said, yeah, I'm gonna write a book. She goes, oh, I can't wait to hear some of the stories you have. And I said, oh, it's not about me. And she said, well what the heck is it about? We don't want to hear anything else. And people are always asking me about the journey and stories. And so I thought, okay, well, um, as you know, it's not that I'm shy, but as a journalist, kind of talking about yourself is not really what we do. We're not supposed to be the story. I know that's changing, but um, so
Yeah.
I had to find a way to. I thought, well, how do I tell the story where it's authentic? Because that's all I can be, but it doesn't sound like I'm complaining because it's not been easy, and
Mhm.
I chose this path, and I knew it wouldn't be easy. So I didn't want to seem like I was like whining about the things that haven't gone really well. And I also didn't want to be like, hey, and now more about me. Like, how do I write it to where maybe it benefits people? So once
Mhm.
I figured that part out, I said, okay, I'll give people some lessons from the field. And really, it's not about you wanting to be a journalist or even wanting to work in sports. But I kind of sum it up and say, for anybody who has to navigate a space that wasn't designed for you, I think maybe you can get something from it. And no, that was the way that I approached telling the stories.
I love that. So how long did it take you to write this?
So to really, once I decided that this was the book, because
Mhm.
I've written it probably 10 times,
Okay.
like, oh no, that's not the book. And then you put it down. But probably about a little less than a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could write it. I just had to figure out what it was. And
Mhm.
then be okay with writing it. Like, yeah, okay, this is a story. And then just do it.
Love that. So, what's the reception been of those who've read it?
So, so far it's been good. I think a
Mhm.
lot of people have been like, "Oh, I want to support it," but people don't always read, right? But I know they may buy it,
Yeah,
but they
that's
don't read
true.
it. And I'm like, no. So I also wanted it to be short enough
Mhm.
because I got a ton of stories. I mean, I couldn't tell them all because now people are just reading story after story. So I wanted it to be at least short enough where they could get through it and be like, oh, okay. And then you could just write another book about something else later. But
Mhm.
I've had comments like this. One of my friends said, he called me and he said, "Hey, that the book was actually good." I was like, "Thank you, I think."
Mhm.
He's like,
I
"I
didn't listen, though.
enjoyed
I
it."
didn't think it would be, but it really is good.
Okay, he said, "You actually told the story about the U of H people." Yeah, I did tell that story. You couldn't be. No, no, they get
Okay,
me.
okay, that's not going to help you at U of H. You
I'm
know
good
that,
with
right?
it. I'm over it. I'm not trying to get. I mean, I'm not. I'm not interested anymore. But there's
Right.
just some things because there's a lot of stories I didn't tell.
Mhm.
But there's just some things that like you're not at this point in my life and my journey, like you don't get to give me permission to do anything.
I
Well,
love
that's the
I
that.
thing.
could
I
still
was
be
going to say,
standing if that was my approach.
Mhm. I love
are
that.
you singularly the person that doesn't get credentialed there at with the Cougs?
Um, I'm one of them.
Is it largely black press?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
That
yeah.
and my question for you, as a woman of color, what have been the roadblocks you have obviously navigated throughout the course of your career?
So access, um, like every time you show up, always having to prove that you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
There's some new sports information person or some new, and they don't feel like you should be in the room, and having to start over all the time. And that's just been part of it. Um, I had a communication person from a team tell me once, "So why do you need to go to the locker room?" That's what I was like, "Because that's where the interviews are done." I was kind of like confused about what is your question.
Yeah.
See, Kim, I was about to go there because I haven't been in the locker room in forever. But now it seems like they pull everybody out into an interview room. But I know.
Well, I think it depends on the team.
Okay.
Like they don't do that. Yeah, no, none of the teams. I mean, probably in college they do that, but on the pro teams they don't, because what they may do is, okay, say for instance with the Texans, all of your interviews are going to be in the locker room, except they're going to be you're going to get the quarterback at the podium one day a week, and back when JJ Watt played, you got JJ Watt. Okay, everybody else is going to be in the locker room. Yeah. The Astros, you're going to get everybody in the clubhouse, unless it's maybe a little bit before the game on the field, but pretty much you're going to get them in the clubhouse. And Rockets, you're going to get them on the practice court, or you're going to get them in the locker room.
Right. I asked this because I know I've been in locker rooms. I remember one of the games I covered in Tampa was in the Bears locker room, and I saw players deliberately drop their towels as a woman would walk.
Oh yeah, by. Yeah. Over the years, that's happened. I'm very trained to look, make eye contact with people. I'm really in there for that. And earlier in my career, because as you mature, you know how to not say things. I used to I've told players before, listen, I was here when you got here. I'll probably be here when you leave. I mean, it's just ridiculous, Of course, I don't do that anymore because I'm a grown-up, right? But for the most part, the players have been the least of the problem. There's always a couple, especially when they first come in the league, and they're maybe where they were in college, they didn't see women. That could be a case, but I've had more challenges with the people that, like the communication people, like the guy from the tech from the Oilers,
PR teams,
PR people,
or colleagues who would say, "Man, I noticed you do a really good job of just looking at guys in their eyes." And I'm thinking, is that what you in here doing, watching me? Because I'm not watching you. What is that? Like, what is people are always watching you. And I tell people, Tim, like back when I started, when I covered the Oilers, we could be at practice the whole time, and there was no social media. There weren't any, cell phones. And if I was covering the Oilers practice and I needed to go to the restroom, somebody from the staff would have to walk with me into the locker room, and I'd have to go to the restroom because there were no facilities for media or separate for women, right? Yeah. That ain't fun, but what are you going to do? I mean, so it's evolved. And so when there are these new people that come in and they complain about a few things, or they just don't understand how it has evolved, as it should. Like, we should not have to go I should have to go into the Oilers, where the urinals are, and go to the bathroom. But if you're there for 3 or 4 hours, and you're outside and it's really hot and you're drinking water, there's a good chance you're going to have to at some point go to the bathroom. Right? Mm-hmm. So,
Kim, do you get into your experiences as a tennis athlete? And do your colleagues know you are a high-level college athlete?
I don't know that they do. I think I do tell the story of what the end of my playing tennis was, with my injury to my ankle. Do you know that story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell that story, but I don't know that people know. And I guess I don't talk about it a lot because, I didn't get beyond college. I got injured and that was the end of it. So I'd be talking about what could have been, I guess, which seems like not really the thing to do. But
in the book, you don't get into it.
No, I just tell about when how I played at A&M, and then how I got injured and how that was the end. And then I started telling stories about people who were in sports, since I couldn't be a football player, and then I couldn't be a tennis player. So,
What
do you already have?
No, go ahead, Trey.
No,
go ahead.
Do you already have an idea for your next book?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have several in my head, and I have a couple documentaries in my head. Mm. But the ordeal that I went through last year with my condo and the whole person that wouldn't get out and the court system and that whole thing, that's my next book.
Oh,
one because
That's it.
I don't think I knew that story, but I have to read the book.
Yeah, that one almost took me out. And I want to tell it not just to expose the evil woman, but really because it's the system that people don't understand. And the state of Texas, which is super conservative, that they have these laws
Oh,
that we
really?
have no idea about.
I didn't know that, Kim.
Oh. I mean, I spent 7 months in court trying to get my condo back from a person who wouldn't pay rent, had stopped paying rent, lease was up, wouldn't get out. And that whole ordeal cost me probably 30 grand.
Wow.
15 grand in just paying the mortgage and the bills and going to court. And then when she got out, the way she trashed it, another 15 grand. I mean, I don't have it. I mean, I need to write that book so I can try to get my money back. But also I want people to know, because people think, oh, real estate is great. It's passive income. And for me, it was never, I was like, I'm going to move out of my condo for a year and move in with my oldest sister to help her out a bit financially, because I couldn't take care of 2 households. Right. So I said, you know what? I'll come there for a year and then we'll figure it out. Because if I'd known I was going to sell my house, I would have sold it initially. Because I ended up having to sell it once I got it back to try to get out of the hole. But it is the laws that people don't know about, that in the state of Texas, when your lease ends, the tenant becomes what's called a holdover. It's in every Texas lease. It's something we never look at. I didn't know. Most people just get the hell out, right? But if they know this and they stay, then you've got to pay to put them out. So most people, it may take you 2 or 3 months to get them out, which is still annoying.
Yeah.
But if you rent to the devil like I did, who has spent 20 years doing this to people, right? Who knows the system, all of the tricks of the trade, and is what people will call, judgment proof, because they have nothing to lose. But it doesn't show up on the background check or credit report.
Right.
Right. She's no evictions. But when I went into the court system, because as I'm going through this, the journalist in me made me dig. And I'm like, she's been doing this to people for 20 years. And at the end, I had to settle with her. I didn't give her any money, although she tried to get me to give her money. But I had to drop the eviction to get her out, because I couldn't keep it up. I was paying mortgage and all the bills, and I couldn't risk losing, because I ran into a judge who was, tenant friendly and clueless about what her job is. So I'm going to be campaigning against her in 2026. But she shouldn't be on the bench, right? Know the law. And I couldn't risk losing and starting over again, because I couldn't afford it. So I had to settle with her.
Sounds like a movie.
No eviction.
It sounds like a movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, where can people pick the book up?
You can get it from Amazon, and soon I'm going to put it on my website, because I have people like, I don't want to go to Amazon, which I get. So I'm going to make it available in the next few days. I'm going to add a link where you can get it from my website.
Sports, my love language is complicated. But yeah, we got some breaking news here. I want to get your thoughts on. First, let's go to the NBA. Damian Lillard is going back to Portland. 3 years, $42 million.
Wow.
Yeah. After he just got a nice little buyout from
Milwaukee,
from the Bucks.
Yeah.
Now, are they still going to pay him the next 5 years?
I don't know what the buyout entailed.
Right.
I don't know if it was a lump sum or how they're going to do it. They probably stretched it out, but
no, the Bucks. Here's what they did: they wage stretched the entirety of the 2 years, and the nearly 1.3 million left on his contract. So I think he's going to get $20 million a year from them for the next 4 or 5 years.
On top of making $14 million in Portland.
That's not a bad gig.
Not a bad payday. Yep.
And Oregon has no state income tax. So good on you, son.
Yeah, right. Good for you. If you can get it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him.
And Bradley Beal is going from
the Clippers
to the Clippers. That should be interesting.
From
the Suns.
From the Suns. And
that was a failed experiment in and of itself. It had Bill Durant and
Chris Paul.
Booker. He's still there. He's been by him lonesome. Yeah. So, goodness. The West has always been interesting.
Lots of moving parts.
Like the stretch provision is there. They're paying him 4 or 5 years of money in addition to what he's going to get from Portland. Good for Dame. Thanks for letting us know about that, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
There.
Yeah, good for him. You know, I hate to see players get. I mean, they just really did some. I don't know. Did you guys see the AI generated Twitter response that from Dame? It was really good in terms of, you know, how AI is able to. It was like him talking about how the Bucks had dumped him, how he laid everything on the line. He got injured, how they treated him. I mean, he just, until you realize at a point that it was AI, but it sounded like him. It looked like him.
It was deep fakes.
It was, yeah.
Speaking of that, what's it
I didn't
like?
see that.
What's it like covering sports now in this 24-hour Twitter age back compared to, as you mentioned, you covered the Oilers when, right, when they were the Oilers, right?
When they were the Oilers. You know what? It's very different, and you've got to find your, like, what is your place going to be? And mine isn't chasing breaking news, right? Because I can't keep up with that. You know, I get some because I do have some relationships, but that's not me. I mean, you know, I'm an analyst. I do great interviews, right? I can break stuff down, but every little thing that happens, I'm just not chasing it because I don't have the resources. And so there are guys who live for that in terms of guys, and I mean men or women, whether they are, you know, constantly on with agents, you know, they have the resources from their organizations to, you know, it takes a lot to do all of it. And I, quite frankly, other than information beyond that, I think some of it, I don't know how much the general audience cares about it. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we do things in the industry that other people in the industry are much more impressed with than the audience. And so my thing is, who's your audience? Who's my audience? And my audience is mostly men, but I have a lot more women than most people that do what I do. And they want something, they want it to make sense to them. They want to be told the things that really matter. They want to know some stories about the people. Or so I saw this game, but tell me again what happened without just beating them over the head with lots of stats and figures. They still want stories.
And they want some perspective on it, which you do an outstanding job on. One other breaking news item, University of Memphis basketball program has just been placed on 2-year probation.
Penny.
Academic advisors working for the team. I mean, this whole thing with NIL is just...
it's the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
It really is. And, you know, yesterday it was SWAC Media Day, Football Media Day. And so I was a part of that. And the commissioner, Dr. McClellan, who, of course, was the AD at TSU before he went there, was talking about the SWAC app that they finally are launching and SWAC TV. And just, why are you shaking your head, Tim?
I'm confusing the SWAC with the SIAC. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I say what?
I was like, yeah, app, all right.
But just all of the things that they can do that they'll be able to do with SWAC TV and how it's going to work with HBCU Go and also ESPNU, how they're going to work together. So it, you know, so that people can, you know, you can always watch your teams, you know, no matter, because some teams get more coverage and they're shown on other platforms. So he talked about it, and he talked about just a lot of stuff in the future, what they're going to be able to do in terms of not just programming to get games live, but just stories from the different campuses and being able to highlight some of the things at HBCUs and tell the stories that Otherwise, sometimes don't have any place to land. Now, the HBCUs are going to have to do a much better job of helping to curate those stories.
That was
But
what I
I'm
was going
just
to come to
saying.
next.
Yes.
What are the SIDs like in the SWAC right now? Don't
You
be scared.
know,
Do they
Long
have
pause.
any?
they're not real strong. I mean, I hate to say it, with the guy at FAMU, I think he's a white guy. Not that that makes, but like, here's what I do. I know the coaches. And so I'm on the phone with them and said, hey, when are y'all practicing? When are you doing? Because I can't just sit and wait if I'm going to cover TSU and Prairie View, which I don't cover as much, but TSU I cover a lot. If I'm committed to saying I've got to make sure that that's a part of, what I do, then I've got to do more work to cover them. So I can call Chris Dishman or text him, or Johnny Jones, or text him and say, hey, what's going on? When are y'all practicing? What's coming up? But they don't. I don't want to rag on that.
That's news to me. You just said Chris Dishman. He's a head coach.
He's a head coach of Texas Southern University.
He's
He's going into his second season.
Yeah.
He's former DB for the Diddley departed Houston Oilers. Outstanding NFL player.
And he coached in college. He coached in the XFL, and I'm telling you, Chris has been. They were 4-5 last year. They won their last 2 games of the season, which apparently in many, many years TSU has not won the last 2 games of the season. But he's like, that's not a milestone. We supposed to win a SWAC. I mean, but one of the things I can tell you about him and from covering him, he is so committed to those young men. Like, in terms of, like, he's like, they got to have nutrition. And so they can't eat like the other kids on the weekend. So he goes in his pocket. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I don't want to get in trouble. He's not like giving them money, but to make sure that they have the proper nutrition, to make sure that they're doing community service. That's a part of it. If you come there, you got community service. It's part of what they do. Sometimes they go to church together, but community service, they all have to do that. And so it's a culture shift. And it was interesting because the last home game of the season, we were doing post game. We brought in a couple of the players, to the interview room, and unbeknownst to him, one of them, really each one of them talked about how they love playing for him. He changed the culture, and they believe they can win, and that just hadn't been the case before, And so seeing the difference that he's trying to make in young men's lives, I think is exciting. So I've got a chance to see that, up close.
I guess on that level it works because I think this week I saw with Teddy Bridgewater, high school coach down there in Florida, went in his pocket.
A volunteer coach. They're talking about, how you gonna suspend a volunteer coach? He don't even work for y'all.
Right.
Volunteer coach suspended for going in his pocket, providing Uber rides for his kids to get back and forth to practice, and those type of things. And it's like,
dude,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're not going to help him. Somebody else tries to help him, right? And then they're like, no, you can't help.
Tim, I just thought about you probably knew my friend Bill Thomas, former coach and athletic director.
Yeah.
Bill worked at both TSUs. I covered him when he was at Tennessee State in Nashville. And, of course, he left there after many, many years as coach and AD. And
see, right now, Bill Thomas would probably be in jail for coaching how he coached back in the day. Because I'll never forget that game, Rick. His quarterback was having a very bad game, and Coach Thomas grabbed the kid by his face mask and was shaking his head as he was talking to
him. Back in the day.
Yes.
Nicest guy you ever want to meet until you get between those lines, man.
That clip right there would live forever on somebody's television if they were able to televise that game. But the kid played a great second half.
And he did.
Surprise him.
But you recalling that story, that's the great thing about the business that we were in. All these lists, you probably got another 1,000 of those stories. And Kim, I'm glad you're sharing some of yours in your book. and we wish you much success with it.
I appreciate it. I had a text today from my former general manager from when I worked at the NBC station here in Houston. He sent me a picture. First of all, he let his hair grow out. I'm like, what are you doing? Larry Blackerby. He and I worked with him for almost 6 years, maybe 5 years. And then he left and this other crazy GM came in. And that's what I decided. I should be in business for myself. But we've kept in touch. And he sent me a picture today. He lives out in California and said, look what came today. And he was holding the book. Because I'm so proud of you. And I thought, you know what? That's so cool. So the people who have, like the Rockets PR staff came and the Texans PR cap. When I had my initial book launch, the Texans PR staff came, in addition to some of my colleagues. And so that was really, cool to see one of my friends from the Astros, not the Astros PR staff, but, that was really cool to see. And when people, oh man, I'm so proud of you. And it feels kind of weird. People that your colleagues will say that to you, or you're like, okay. I mean, I'm grateful about it, but you just never know how something you may do or have done or can do will impact somebody else. So it's been pretty cool. So I'm happy to come to Atlanta for a book signing if y'all can get some people together.
Hey,
a book event,
We'll get you here in the Motor City too.
I thought about it, Ricky. I was making some of my plans for Texans. So I'm going to camp. They're going to Greenbrier, West Virginia. And let me just tell y'all this. So I'm obviously not staying at the Greenbrier. So I called the Fairfield Inn in West Virginia to say, none of us are, and to say, because I couldn't get a rental car. And I said, well, about how far is it for an Uber ride from the hotel to the Greenbrier? And the lady said, yeah, we don't really have Uber here. I say, in the whole town? We said, we have one Uber driver and he doesn't always work. I said, well, how do people get around? She says, well, we do have a shuttle from the hotel if you can book it, or if you make a reservation, you can get a cab ride. I was like, I'm so glad I didn't try to do an Airbnb without a car. Well, I wouldn't do an Airbnb in West Virginia without a car. I didn't want to be out on the property, right. No car, and something come up and I can't get away. So
the one Uber driver also is the chief of police and the school principal.
Wait, do the Texans come here?
The Texans do come there, and they come for a practice, and they have a preseason game. But I can't spend 4 days in Detroit, and I just
you're more than welcome to come stay with us, Kim. When you're here, just let me know.
I'll let you know. I was looking at the schedule today, going, now I'm not making that trip because they travel one day, they have practice, then they travel. I said, you only get really 1 day of practice because who really cares about preseason? I go to the home games, but.
But they're scrimmaging with the Lions here.
Yeah, they play a preseason game and they have a practice with the Lions as well. Cool. Yeah.
Those things never work out well.
They don't.
They're always fights. They fight. Anytime you work out with another team, there's going to be fights.
It's going to be a fight because you're just so glad to be with somebody else because by that point, you're fighting each other, okay? Right. And now you can fight the other team. So.
Hey, we got to get out of here. And Kim, that offer does stand. Love that.
I appreciate that. I'll let you know.
Okay. If you get a chance, it's one of these episodes of the Netflix Quarterback with Kirk Cousins. Tim's not going to watch it.
They've already. The cat is out the bag on Kirk. The great teammate that he is.
Anyway, it's featuring Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Joe Burrow. But and I hadn't seen all of it. Around here, they played the golf clips. Yeah. And they played the Green Bay game. I'll tell the story real quick. The fourth quarter drive is 31-31. The Lions have the ball. The fourth down, everybody thought they were going to kick it. And Goff almost trips when he hands off to but they got Goff and Campbell mic'd up during the timeout leading up to the play. So he's going about Campbell, we're kicking it. Then he goes, F it, we're going for it. And then he says, I know this ain't the right call, but we're going to do it anyway. And Goff, effing yeah, let's go for it. You'll see it if you ever check out.
I'll check it out.
It is I guess it's great to watch that now since they got the first down. And didn't get stopped and they probably lost the game in OT. But look, we got to get out of here. Kim, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you guys always for being so kind and having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. All right, be kind, everybody.
Tree McDougal, Tim Turner, I'm Rick Cantor.
All right, see you guys.
See y'all.